everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I would like to share my favourite pages that I coloured in 2022. I've been doing this for the past few years now and I really enjoy doing it. I think it's a great way to wrap up the year. As well as this, I always share everything that I coloured in 2022 in 2 videos and they are up on my channel if you would like to watch them. And I go into a bit more detail about some of the pages, but I think it's nice to pick out my favourite pages as well and share them because I love some pages that I've coloured for different reasons. But yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing these with you, and I'm sorry that it's a little bit late. Obviously it's not really the new year anymore, but January just went by so fast I didn't have a chance to do it. And I was hoping to sort of keep it to 10 pages because that's what I normally do, my top 10, and that's probably what the title of this video will be. It is 10, but I do have 2 sort of special mention ones as well, so it's more like 12. But I did colour around 50 pages this year, which is quite a lot for me, and trying to narrow it down was quite difficult because, as I said, it's not necessarily the pages that I think I've coloured the best, if you want to put it that way. They're just, some of them have really nice sentimental meaning to them, and others I might really like the colour palette or something like that, but I think depending on the style of the artwork, I colour in different ways. And it will also come as no surprise that I have been loving Rita Berman's work. Most of the pages are from her books. I do feel like when I colour in her books I do produce my best work just because I take my time with them a lot, and that goes for a few other artists as well. But yeah, I do have a lot of Rita Berman to share with you, and a few other things as well. So I hope you enjoy watching. These videos end up normally being quite long, so yeah, I hope you enjoy watching. But I'm going to get started with the 2 mentions, and these aren't really in any particular order, these pages. I do have a few sort of ones that I instantly knew would be in this video when I was going through all my completed pages. And when I was colouring them as well, I just knew that they'd be some of my favourite ones. So I will mention those when we get to them. First page, which is a mention, is from The Flower Year by Layla Dooley. And I love this book. This is my 2nd copy. And the reason this is a special mention, this particular page, is because it's quite a small picture. And it didn't take very long to do, but nevertheless I was really pleased with how it turned out. I just felt like because it was a sort of repeat page that I was doing and I didn't really have to think about the colours that I was doing, and it was quite a small thing to do, I guess. It was just more of a mention page, because what I'm hoping is that in 2023 I'll be able to actually get stuck in and do some of the really detailed pages, and I hope that they turn out the way I want them to turn out, because in the past I have done some and I've loved them at the time, and then looking back I'm like, well, you know, I would have changed that. So I'm just hoping that when I do get to some of the more detailed pages they will turn out like this one did. So I've actually only done a couple of small things in here, but the one that I have done that I like is this one, which is the Painted Lady Butterfly. So I originally did this in my first copy with Crayola pencils, and I was testing them out to see how they would work, you know, trying to make something look realistic. I did use a reference photo when I first did this. And essentially I've just done the same thing except with Holbeins. And honestly, like, I couldn't notice that much of a difference because I think I really did put the Crayolas to their limits. I tried to do quite a lot of layering with them. I definitely think some of the colours are more vibrant for the Holbeins, but all in all, I enjoyed colouring this both times with them. And I do think that the Holbeins do just have the edge, especially with some of the brighter colours. But I had an enjoyable experience with the Crayolas when I did it a couple of years ago, so you definitely can get good results with them. But yeah, I enjoyed doing this one. As I said, I don't really count it as a proper page because it is a small like design. I love it, and I really like that there are smaller images to do in Layla's books, just so that if I want to do something that won't take too long, I have the option, because I am colouring things realistically, so they are still going to take a little bit of time. But even something like this, wouldn't take as long as some of the others. So yeah, I've literally just done that one and the little mistletoe page in the December section here, and then I've got a whip at the front as well, which I haven't finished yet. So when I do eventually get around to either finishing that or doing a more detailed page, I'm looking forward to seeing if I can hopefully get them to look the way I want them to look, like I achieved with this one. So yeah, that's my first special mention. And then the other one I have, which was actually quite tough because I still really like this page, but I have a few reasons why it's a special mention and not in the top 10. This is Die Welt unter der Lupe Zuvas by Rita Berman. Now, this was a book that I came to in 2022 wanting to start working in again, because I had sort of abandoned the book because there were a couple of pages I didn't really like that I'd done them in gouache, but back then I didn't really know how to use gouache, and I had layered it really thickly, which you can do with them, but just for the purposes of using them in a colouring book, it didn't work the way I wanted it to, because it was sort of covering up the line art. And I came back to this book, fixed a page, took a page out and did this picture, which I want to share. So I thoroughly enjoyed the process of doing this page, and I think the reason I don't have it in my top 10 is just because doing water pages I don't think come as naturally to me as doing the flowery pages, you know, things with leaves, like other animals and stuff. So I'm proud that I managed to do this and get it the way I wanted it to look, and I like the sort of colour palettes that are out of my comfort zone, with this colour palette here, and this one as well, the purple and the green. But yeah, I think just because I could still do with a bit more practice for water scenes, I think that's why it's a special mention one. Because for example, the background, I like how it's turned out, but I would like to experiment with different ways of colouring sea. I've seen so many amazing backgrounds that people have done, and I would like to try and see if I can replicate them with the backgrounds, because I don't just want to keep doing just blue as well. But yeah, this one did take me quite a while, just because I was taking my time a lot. I was using just luminance pencils, I was layering with them a lot. I used Posca pens, white gel pen, glitter as well on the bubbles up here, with Calero paints. But yeah, I still really enjoyed doing this one. I just think I could do with a little bit more practice, maybe for the backgrounds, and seeing what I can do to come up with different colour palettes. So for example, with this opposing page, I'd probably do the same colour palette because I'd want to keep them cohesive. But I'm just a little bit worried that when I do come to doing more pages in her books, I don't want them to all end up just looking the same. I want to see if I can be versatile with different colour palettes for C pages. So yeah, that's a page that I did really enjoy doing, and I think that was in May time, maybe May or June, when I was busy with exams, and so I only had a small amount of time to colour, so that it was a really good page to do because they were, you know, small things to colour. So then I have a postcard. This is from I Believe in Fairies by Clara Markova. I, in 2022, managed to reach the goal of being more than halfway done now with these postcards, so that's really exciting. I definitely found with the ones that I coloured in 2022, I'm pleased with all of them in different ways. And looking back, yeah, maybe there are things that I would change, but actually I'm pleased that they are done and I'm still happy with them, because looking back at the ones that I did when I first started, it's quite unusual for me that I look at something I've done over 2 years ago and still like it that much, because my style definitely changes. But I think luckily with these I've managed to keep a fairly consistent style with them, so even though they are a few years apart, I still think they go quite well together. There were definitely ones I did in these previous ones that I do think I like more than some of the ones I've done in 2022. I think one of my favourites that I did last year was this one, purely because, sorry, when I mean last year, I mean 2021. I know we're in 2023 now, but yeah, this one, just for different reasons that I said in that video, I was really out of my comfort zone with this one, and I was pleased with how it turned out. With some of these this year, I definitely felt very much in my comfort zone, and I think I could have been a bit braver with colour palettes at times. For that reason, that's why I've gone with this one as my favourite. And again, this was during exam season. I don't know what it was, but I didn't have much time to colour during exam season, and I did really use it for, you know, mindfulness and well-being when I had the opportunity to. I don't know, something about just having less time and just using it as time to relax really made me colour pictures that I was proud of. This one in particular, the reason I'm happy with it is that I just used Prismacolors, and I hadn't used them for a while on a standalone page, just using them. And also with this page, looking at it, it wouldn't necessarily be one that I do and think, oh, you know, that's going to be one of my favourite pages when I've completed it. So coming to it and actually being really pleased with the result sort of made me like it even more. I think it did stand me in good stead starting with the background, because normally with Prismacolors I either take the route of doing a really lavender blue type colour, sort of like this, or I go for a really dark indigo colour, more like this darker background, although this one that I followed by Chris Cheng was something very different that I hadn't done before. But I either go for really dark blue or a really sort of pastel lavender blue colour. And this one I layered them up in different ways, experimented, and came up with this that I was really pleased with, and I have written it down so I can use it for future pages. And then I was trying to recreate the colour palette of one of the dwarfs from Snow White, and I was trying to keep a really minimal colour palette, and I think the thing I really like is the feather, because again, normally I would do a grey feather or maybe purple and blue or something like that, but I was really chuffed with that and sort of just dispersed the colours around the picture. And I don't really know how to describe why I like it other than that. I think maybe just coming to the page at a different angle with just using Prismacolors made a difference, because it was sort of refreshing to use them again on their own. I hadn't done that for a while, and when I first started colouring, all I used was Prismacolors with a few polychromos, and then when I was trying out different pencils, I would sort of integrate the Prismacolors with different sets, pages. But it was really such a lovely experience to just use them, and I don't imagine I will use them a lot in her books again, just because I used to use them quite a lot in her books, and they do work on the paper, but for my style with Prismacolors, I don't feel they work the best for me. So I definitely will come back and use them on the postcards though, because I had a really lovely experience. And I have used them on their own as well on this picture. So yeah, it's a really, really fun one, and sort of a more muted palette as well, you know, not really any pastel colours, which was good for me because I do gravitate towards that. So yeah, one that I really enjoyed doing. So next I have one from Wild Mouse Yuri's Adventure Sketch. This is by Mikiko Natome, and I got this book this time last year, so I have done 4 pages in here now, and I just love it. It's so beautiful. I'm really hoping to do more this year. I've just finished this picture, a very late Christmas page that I shared in my recent completed pages, but I'm hoping to come back to this. Along with Mein Reise durch Asien by Rita Berman, this was definitely a standout book for me in 2022, and I love it. It's beautiful. There was a time where I wasn't really coming back to it that much because I had a whip that had taken me a while to complete, but I can't wait to do more in this. The page that I've picked that was my favourite was the first one I did, and it's this one. So this is the Chaffinch page. I have all of the colour palettes in, I want to say my colour combinations for February or March. I used Holbein's for this, and I, again, took my time so much with it. I think that's when I end up being really pleased with my pages, is when I've just taken my time. And there were a lot of repeating things in this, you know, with all of the flowers, and I just enjoyed colouring every single one, and yeah, really just enjoying the experience with them. And obviously it's not a complete, a very detailed page at all compared to some of the other ones that are in here, but I think just choosing something simple and just such a beautiful illustration for my first page was something that I just wanted to do to help me get into the book and then do some of the more detailed scenes. So I did that one first, then went to the Easter page with a similar colour palette, and this was the one that overall I'm probably not as pleased with as some of the other ones that I've done. I think it's mainly just the background elements, but I can always go back and add more shadowing if I want to. But I think as a double spread with the similar colours, I really like how they've turned out together. But for me, colouring realistically, I do have to be in the mood for, but when I am in the mood for it, I really enjoy it. And colouring this chaffinch I just absolutely love it. And yeah, as I said, I've got all the colours. And as well, I wouldn't have normally gone for a chaffinch. I usually gravitate towards robins or blue tits because I've coloured them a lot, but trying something different with them was so fun. So yeah, that's one of my favourites. So now we have all of my Rita Berman. So all of the remaining pages are from her books, but I have got an eclectic mix of her books actually. The only book I haven't included, I know I've already shown Die Welt unter der Lupe Zuvas, the only book I don't have is my autumn book, Mein Herbst, the Spaziergang, and I've still really enjoyed the pages that I've done in her books, in that specific book. But out of all the seasons, it's probably my least favourite season overall. Not necessarily, not the book at all, just for me, the actual season. I just find that it's mainly just autumnal leaves and stuff, and I probably gravitate towards colouring flowers and things a bit more. But yeah, I think I coloured three pages, I want to say, in that book, so I still managed to get around to it quite a lot. I also don't have the winter book to share with you. That's purely because I've only done one page in it quite recently, and again, really enjoyed doing that one. I'm working on another one at the moment, but didn't quite make it into the top 10. But the fact that 6 of her books have is quite an achievement for me. So I'm going to start with Mein Reise durch Europa. I did quite a few pages in this year. It's one that I am aiming to complete at some point. We will see if that ends up happening. But I have 3 pages. One of them is a double spread, which I'm still counting as one page, but there's a particular page that I prefer out of the 2. But this is the first one. So this double spread I did during my summer holidays. We were in France, and it was a buddy colour with Erica. Well, this page was from Elm Colours, and I really enjoyed doing it. Originally I was just going to do that page, but I decided to turn it into a double page spread. So obviously this doesn't have to be one. You could easily do it as 2 separate pages, but I just felt like the theme of the travelling and packing and everything sort of did fit being a double page, and it meant that I was sort of killing 2 birds with one stone and managing to do 2 pages in one. So yeah, a lot of fun, this one. This is definitely my favourite of the 2. My sort of favourite pages that I like doing are definitely ones where they are scenes, and I think coming up with the colour palette for that then did just help me fill in the gaps with this. I do struggle sometimes with pages where there are lots of small details and having to come up with a cohesive colour palette even when there are loads of different things going on. So it's definitely a challenge, but really fun. I used Black Widow pencils for this, and I think what I am most chuffed with is being bold and brave with myself and doing a brighter background. A few years ago I would never ever have gone for this. I would have probably done a stenciled blue cloud pastel background, just really simple, and I'm glad that I took the time to try something new, and I'm really pleased with it. And I think it ended up going quite well with everything else that I picked, because the buildings, I tried to keep them fairly realistic. I did some research on colours, and I'm glad that the pink and creams will go with the background as well. But yeah, it was just sort of a new challenge for me, trying to do an interesting background and taking my time. So that's that one. Then we have this one. Now I know this technically is a double page spread as well, but I definitely prefer this page out of the two. But again, they're cohesive, they go together. But this one is special to me because it was the first page I completed in 2022. It took me about 3 weeks on and off, I think, to complete it. And I just remember taking so much time over every single detail. I spent so long on these flowers, picking the colours out for the buildings. This colour palette that I've done for the water, or colour scheme I should say, really, has stayed with me for the whole year, and I have used it so much, not just in her books as well. Just it's one that I'm going to be using so much more, and I've changed it around a bit. So I've added in a few colours here and there when I want it to have a slightly different effect, but all in all it's pretty much the same, and I've got this page to thank for sort of coming up with it. I added in the bordered background. I did do the background with pencil, which did take quite a while. It's probably quite hard for you to see with the lighting. And again, I have coloured these cloud bits in. Again, they're probably quite hard to see. But just on top of that, with the fine liner details that I did, which again, you probably won't be able to see it, things like the flags here, I've added in stripes. I just remember doing all of them and taking my time with all of the little details, and I'm glad that I did. And I was concerned at the start when there was going to be so much brown. I had done the blue, I did all the brown, and thought, oh gosh, okay, I need to add some colour into it. How am I going to make it look, you know, the way I want it to look? And yeah, I think it paid off in the end. I'm really pleased with it. So I think in February I then transferred over the colours to this page as well. But this one's definitely my favourite, and it's nice that I have good memories doing it and I can remember doing it as well. And then the last page I have is this one. So with this one, again, it wasn't one that I immediately thought it's going to be one of my favourite pages. I thought it would be a great one to do because it's not too detailed and I can split it off into the sections. But I don't know, there was just something about it when I finished it, and I was like, oh, actually, I really, really like it. I've got quite a cohesive colour palette, not much going on really. The blue, the green, the pink, red tones. Yeah, not much really, is there? But I think that's what I sort of liked about it, because it didn't take me too long. The thing that I like especially are the backgrounds, because I didn't know what to do originally with this, and I decided in the end to do 3 different colours and used some eroger tins and just did lots of layering with them. I like the subtlety of them, and that was something that I started out with on this page. And then all of these border bits were the bits that I really wasn't sure about, because I thought, well, how am I going to be able to colour them in so that I'm pleased with them, but they won't take forever, because let's be honest, I'm one of those people that doesn't want to sit there and colour loads and loads of tiny patterns with loads of shading and stuff. It was the same when I coloured a lot in Fantastic Zoo. I did do a little bit of shading here and there, but mostly I just block coloured all of the small Zentangle bits, which I had really fun, a lot of fun doing. But like here, for example, with the lines added in here, I didn't want to go in and shade everything. So in the end, I just decided, well, I'll do some block colouring with fine liners. I'll do a bit of shading here and there, but use a lot of white gel pen and Posca, and I really liked it. It saved me so much time, and I'm pleased with the result. So aside from all those embellishments that I added, it's just Black Widow pencils, a few eroger tints in the background mixed in with the Black Widows, but not a very complex one at all. And I think sometimes don't put pressure on yourself to colour a page, because I really didn't with this one, and I was happy with how it turned out. So yeah, this was a surprising one for this year, I think, and I'm looking forward to colouring this page hopefully at some point with the same sort of colour palette. So they are the pages from Meine Reise durch Europa. Then I have Mein Frühlingsspaziergang. And this page is the only page that I've done in this book, so I'm hoping that when I do come back to it, hopefully this season, I will be able to colour the pages with a similar sort of effect, and hope they come out just as well, because I was pleased with this one. So yeah, it was this page. Now, I have fond memories doing this one when I was in Devon. I think it was in April time. The reason I love it is because of the colour palette and this butterfly. This butterfly has carried me through so many pages over the past years. I first discovered a picture of a butterfly, I think back in 2017 when I was first colouring in Rhapsody in the Forest, and then it sort of carried through when I started colouring my second copy of Ivy and the Butterfly. I have done so many other pages with this colour palette, and again it's quite a bold one for me because I don't use orange all that much, and sort of doing those brighter colours, and I'm just glad that I have sort of carried on doing it because I really like it. The background was also sort of new for me because when I've coloured backgrounds in the past with pencil, I've always felt the need to go in and add shadows. So if I'd done this a few years ago, I would have shaded around the edge and done a gradient, and then I would have also done shadowed bits around some of the bigger areas and added in shading. And whilst I do think shaded backgrounds do have their uses, and I do still do them occasionally, the only issue I have with them when I colour them is if I shade the background, it then takes away from some of the other elements on the page. So if I'd done darker shading, for example, or multiple colours in the background, that's the other thing. If I'd done multiple colours and done, say, purple to pink, it wouldn't have made the other elements stand out. So this was really sort of a turning point for me where I was like, actually, no, I don't have to shade the background. I can just keep it a block colour. It's fine. And it saved me a lot of time. And I'm actually chuffed that I did just decide to not shade the background. So yeah, this one's just a single colour pencil. I've then used the blender pencil, but yeah, that's literally it. I used Black Widows, but again, not too many colours going on. I like these flowers because I was trying to sort of make them like cherry blossom. I've used a lot of fine liner detail. Again, I think I've definitely got these colour combos written down, maybe in my April colour combinations, April or May. And those videos can all be found on my channel. But yeah, just actually, when you think about it, it's a really simple page. Not a lot going on, but I'm, again, pleased with it. So yeah, just a really nice one to do, and I'm hoping to do more. I'm not sure yet whether I will do this one with the same colour palette. But yeah, that's that one. So the next page I have is Die Welt under de Lupe Zuvas. Now this one was also one that I did on holiday. I did a few in here this year, but this was my favourite. The fact that it was a wreath page immediately drew me in because I love wreath pages so much. They've always been some of my favourites. Wreath pages or circular pages. This one I did in 2021. But I just love them, and I enjoyed doing the grapefruit because, again, I'm sort of out of my comfort zone a bit because normally if I'm colouring a citrus fruit I'd always do a lemon or an orange, and I was glad I took the time to try something new and colour that instead, and try and attempt to add all the veiny bits in as well. But yeah, again, it's quite a minimal colour palette. There's not too much going on, and I think I didn't stress too much about keeping it cohesive, but it just ended up sort of being that way. I really enjoyed doing it because I did all of the fruits and then the flowers and then did the leaves at the end. I think I did do the background first though, and this is an example of where I did do a very minimal gradiated background. I've got it a little bit darker around the edge and then faded it out, but because it's such a light colour it doesn't take away from the others too much. I also used lots of glitter and gold accents and things, especially on the bees' wings. A lot of white gel pen, of course, with the grapefruit. But yeah, just trying to come up with different interesting colour palettes for the flowers as well is always a challenge, but it's something that I enjoy doing. Like putting yellow as a highlight for flowers is always really fun. And yeah, really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I got around to doing this because this has always been one of my favourite pages from this book, and this is my second copy, so I had a lot of fun. Yeah, that's that one. Then we have Mein Summer Spazia Gang. Now this page is one of the pages that I instantly knew would be in my top 10. When I coloured it, I was just enjoying every second of it, and I wasn't expecting to. I do have 2 pages to share, but I'll share the one I'm talking about first. So this one was from May. Again, the absolute height of exam season. When I had the opportunity, I would just colour a bit here and there, and it wouldn't have been one that I would have thought I would have enjoyed so much because of all the water. If I'd come to this a few years ago, I would have just immediately thought, oh my gosh, all that water, I'm going to get so bored. And I did not at all. It just was so fun. And I did all the water first, tackled all of that. Again, same colour combo as the page I showed you earlier. And then I did all of the fruits and the flowers and the koi fish, and I did all the details in. I had a lot of Posca going on with the water. The background, trying to fade the blue into the pink was a little bit of a challenge, but I think it works. Yeah, I got lots of details going on. Again, felt that for me, anyway, with my colouring, I was quite bold with the colours I chose, with doing quite a lot of yellow and orange. Because again, I wouldn't have really done that a lot. But yeah, it was just a joy to do, and the fact that it was a double page spread as well, it just sort of surprising to me that I would have picked out the page to do first, because it was the first page I did in this book, and I don't do a lot of double spreads anymore purely because of time, but I just loved it, really did. Got a lot of fun. The other page I have is this one, which again I have really good memories doing, which is why it's in my top pages. I was in Devon with my cousins, and Rosie picked this page for us to do as a buddy colour, and it was just so much fun. I remember doing it because we'd gone away, so this was May half term after my exams. I was just chilling. It was so lovely to not have to worry about them, and I remember coming to this page and thinking, you know, I really like it. It's a circular motif, but how am I going to tackle it? Because essentially it's berries and leaves, and in my head I was thinking, right, well, that's going to be a lot of red and pink and green, but I was stuck on the background at first because I thought, well, if I do a pink background, isn't everything just going to sort of blend into it? But then I didn't want to add too many colours in. I was considering yellow to begin with, and I'm really glad that I stuck to my gut and did pink, because I think it is more cohesive. And yes, I've got bits of yellow going on, but not too much. And it was one, again, that surprised me, because having to come up with different leaf colour combinations and still make them look somewhat interesting, even though I've technically got 3 different colours going on. You know, I've got the like sort of mint green, olive green, bright green. It was quite tricky to come up with them, but I think in the end they do sort of come together. I added a bit of purple here and there because I had to get my purple in. I didn't want it to just be red and pink. I wanted a little bit in there because I love purple. But yeah, I did loads of little details with gel pen. The amount of white gel pen I used, I don't know if you're going to be able to see all of these dots, but they were all little drawn circles, and I was like, what am I going to do with them? So I put gold paint on all of them and outlined them in the white gel pen, just to give a little bit of shine. Yeah, so this was so much fun, and I love doing all the fine liner details and things like that. It's just so much fun. I've got quite a lot of Posca in there as well on the strawberries, and that combo is one that I've used a lot. I've used it in this summer picture. It's definitely there somewhere in my colour combo videos. So yeah, that's that one. The final page I have to show you was, again, one that I knew instantly when I did it, it would be in my top 10. I love it, and I can't wait to do more in this book. This is Meine Reise durch Asien by Rita Berman. The page I did, it's the only page I've done in here, and I really need to come back to it, is this one. So this is the koi fish page, which I completed in September. Again, it was one that took me a few weeks to do, on and off. I really took my time with it, only did a bit here and there. I've got a lot of detail going on with the lily pads. They took such a long time. I used acrylic paint pens a lot, so much white gel pen. I'm not sure if you can see all of that on the koi fish tails especially, and on the water lilies, but I'm just, yeah, pleased with it. Again, I didn't know which page I would pick at all when I first flipped through this book because it's so beautiful. I just decided to go for this one, and I took time to research some colours for the koi fish, come up with different colour palettes, because obviously I'd coloured the one from the summer book, but wanted to come up with slightly different colours to pick, because this one's similar and this one is, but I've got the blue in there as well, and it's not just orange and yellow. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. This was Black Widow pencils as well. I am sure in my September pages I talked about this for quite a while. I'm sure there's things I'm missing out, but if you want to know more about any of these other pages in detail, I hope I've given an indication of where you can, which completed pages videos you can go to if you want to know a bit more. But yeah, it's just so much fun, and all the glitter as well. It's just all the details I really enjoy doing, and yes, they take a long time, but just doing it bit by bit was really fun. So yeah, I can't wait to do more in this book. Definitely need to get around to it soon. Obviously I was focusing on seasonal pages, but when we get into the spring pages I'm definitely going to be picking another one to do because it's beautiful. I just hope that I can make them turn out like that one, because I put this pressure on myself that, you know, if there's a page that comes out, you know, not exactly as intended in a book that I absolutely love, then sort of not as happy with it, which is silly. It shouldn't be like that, but in such a beautiful book and with a page that I was really chuffed with when I did it, I just want to make sure that the other pages come out the same way. So that deer one is definitely one of my favourites. Just flip past it now, I can't find it. This one, love that one. But yeah, we will see. We will see. I'm looking forward to doing more. So that's everything that I've coloured, or my top 10 of, well, 12 really, isn't it, from 2022. And yeah, I love looking back at these pages. If any of you have channels, I'd love to see your top pages if you haven't done these videos already. I really enjoy seeing them. And I think it's good to be proud of pages that we do as well, because often, and you know, I do this a lot in my completed pages, I will always pick up on things that I might change. But it's good, you know, it's good to praise ourselves. There's always going to be pages that we're not as happy with, but when those pages come along where you've had a really good time doing them and you're pleased with how they came out, I think that's really great. And you know, obviously it is a hobby at the end of the day. Like, it's not about creating the best masterpieces, but you know, out of all of the pages that I did this year, these are the ones that I just had you know, really good memories doing them. And for each, you know, for each page I've got certain reasons why they're my favourites. But yeah, it was a really fun colouring year, and apologies again that it's a little bit late. Obviously we're in February now, but I did want to get around to doing this video because I think that this was a really fun one to do. So yeah, that's everything that I have to share with you. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Everything will be down below as usual in the description. Please feel free to comment. I love hearing from you. Yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Take care everyone. Bye.